Have you ever wanted to talk to someone without actually having to look at their face? Are you easily fascinated by old tech, like poles in the ground and radio waves? Well, then you've come to the right place, because today we're going to talk about the ambulatory cellular dial. The mobile cellular phone is like any other phone, but without any wires, so you can walk around with it, and using a network of often three-celled radio towers that receives and transmits your data. The 19th century, electrical communication. The mobile cell phone for short, is an extension to the mid-late 19th century invention, the phone, which you might have heard of. The appliance's inner workings can efficiently be summed up as a handle with a microphone and a speaker attached to a metal box. This is then connected through a cord, and from there to a big evil phone network, where a nice lady behind the counter swaps the wire links to connect you to the person you want to talk to. This was fine at first, but after some time, people realized that this technique was quite flawed. After all, most of our inventions are driven by the needs of war. And as you might understand, dragging a literal bloody phone wire through a battlefield is not an easy task. Early 20th century. I think pigeons are more reliable than that. The 20th century. We had 2 world wars and a bunch of dictators. What a time to be alive! Through World War I, we used a similar technology called telegraphing. The telegraph predates the phone, and instead of relying on communication by voice, hello, it uses Morse code. Like the phone, the telegraph used in World War I connects through a wire, but unlike the phone, it directly connects to the receiver at the other end. Later in the war, a man came up with a great idea connecting their telegraph to a radio transmitter. Everyone thought this was a great idea, so they half-heartedly did as a man said. Hooray! It's now the 11th of November, 1918. World War I is over. Russia is now communist, and Germany is now in huge step to the rest of the world. Luckily, a kind-hearted man with a funny moustache is there to help. Post-World War I. I'm a strong, independent communication system who need no wires. After realizing that he could connect both the sending and receiving signal through radio waves, people got to work. However, not everyone could take use of this great technology, since it was still quite new and needed a lot of dedicated space. Sometime later, a Canadian with the name of Donald Hinks created a portable, two-way radio communicator in the form of a backpack for his employer CM&S. He called this the PackSet. The PackSet operated quite similar to the radio-connected telegraphs from World War I, but using voice instead of Morse code, being mobile instead of stationary, and would you believe it? It's wireless! Not quite a cell phone yet, but we are very, very close. World War II. Oopsie poopsie, it's another world war. Turns out the kind-hearted man with the funny moustache we talked about earlier was not so nice after all. He decided to make Germany great again, and then he blamed all the bad stuff on the Jews and people with the wrong eye colour. But look at the bright side. It's now another world war, and everyone is walking around with a brand spanking new walkie-talkie.
Guten Tag, ich bin ein Wasser. Ja, das ist so gut.
Hello, I seem to be in a bit of a doohickey right now, eh? Yeah, quite right, good sir. Привет, comrade, we seem to be out of fuel for tank. Well, I have news. We have vodka. Duh.
But it's on wine. Indeed.
And then the not so noise anymore man with the funny moustache shot himself. Post-World War II. May somebody please think of the children. World War II is over. Everyone seems to be friends again. Well, until it got cold. Very, very cold. It seems like the Americans and the Soviets doesn't really, get along. They started a race to the finish line. Only one can be the best. Only one can survive. The USSR, being the locked union it was, needed a good way to communicate within its borders. It took a look back in the past and thought to itself,
that walkie-talkie technology seems pretty good. What if we do something with that?
So that's what they did. In 1955, this guy, I will be referring to him as just Leonid, proposed an idea for a small handheld walkie-talkie-like device for everyone to use. This, however, does not yet meet the criteria of a cell phone. However, in the early 1960s, Leonid presented and developed a handheld radio tower communicating 70-gram two-way mobile phone for all the communists of the USSR to enjoy. This is actually a mobile cellular phone. Then later in the 70s, the Americans came out with the first mobile cellular phone. How this happened, I don't know. The impact. You could say if you walked all willy-nilly around with a brick stuck to your ear before the 70s, people would think you were very crazy. But if you did it a bit later, people would rather think you had a lot of money. Bit by bit, it got more and more socially acceptable to have this brick stuck to your ear. Then a bit smaller brick. Then it got smaller again. And now it's a very flat and small brick. I'm not even sure if it's technically a brick anymore. Another impact it had on our society is pockets. When you have this phone constantly stuck into your hand, it's kinda hard to do stuff. So people thought, what if we get pockets for this? That would be great! Which is why we have one more trouser pocket on our bottoms. Another thing it did was replace a lot of tech. For a long time, it was very inefficient if you needed to get out for a walk, at the same time as listening to music and talking to a friend. How do those at the same time? I don't know. And then people realized, hey, instead of having a CD player and a phone, what if we just have a phone that plays music? And everybody was happy. Today, the mobile phone is slowly but surely taking over our lives. We're socializing with it, we're dating with it, we're calculating with it, we're doing everything with it. Is this a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's up to everyone to decide. That was all for today. I'll hope to see you the next time. Goodbye.